Game 23, Leafs, Jackets, and at this point, I think the must-win tag that we've thrown on the last few games, of which they lost, by the way. I mean, I think that can be thrown out the window. Like, I think we can just disregard the must-win. We're almost in, the wait-and-see period with this group now. Normally, the barometer of success and whether or not you make the playoffs is determined by the time you get to American Thanksgiving, of which we are knocking at the doorstep of, if you're not going to consider today, Wednesday, November 26th. That time period, then I guess by Friday when the Leafs play the Washington Capitals, then that would officially be it. But as of right now, the Maple Leafs are below 500. They're last place in the Eastern Conference. This is the first time since the tank for Austin Matthews that the Maple Leafs have found themselves at this point and this position in the conference, in the league, however you want to phrase it. But the only saving grace I guess the group has, well, there's two, but the one saving grace really that you have is that the entire Atlantic, and specifically, I mean, if you want to take it out a step, the entire Eastern Conference, other than the Carolina Hurricanes and the New Jersey Devils, the Eastern Conference is just bland. We're getting dunked on as Leafs fans for falling below the Buffalo Sabres and being last in the Eastern Conference, and rightfully so. They're last place in the Eastern Conference. It's a laughable feat considering where this team was at last year in the summer, where we were looking at what this team could be and projecting out the season. But, I mean, to be in last place in the Eastern Conference, I can't stress how close the Leafs were. And I'm not using this as a mechanism of cope. I'm just kind of trying to stress the fact that if there's anything Leafs fans could take or we could walk away from the last little bit is the fact that if the Leafs beat the Habs on Saturday night, albeit in one more game played on the season than the Habs have played, they would have been tied in points. Now, obviously, Montreal opens up a 4-point gap, and they're much closer to a playoff spot than what the Leafs are currently sitting at right now. Go figure. But they would have been tied. And you're one win away on Saturday night, that is. You're in a different position now from not having these conversations to the same extent, not being as concerned about where the group is at. And although that might be just hiding problems that you have and bigger picture problems, which I do think are all there, you're right there. So the point more so is I don't believe in the group to win anything. I think they've got enough talent in the room to be a playoff team for whatever that's worth. Now you're just kind of trying to figure out what you are. And the fact that the rest of the Eastern Conference, and more zoomed in because it's where you can find your way in if you're the Maple Leafs, the Atlantic Division is not that good. There's not teams that are separating themselves from you at a rate of which you cannot overcome. So, where you're sitting at heading into American Thanksgiving, I think means less this year more than it has in years past, where this may be who you are, and that might be a telltale sign of what you're going to get out of the group for the next 60 games, just in terms of they're not that good. They're not a team that can win the Stanley Cup. But I don't think it means as much in terms of are you going to be a team that makes or misses the Stanley Cup playoffs? Because I think everything's so tight. And I think there's a lot of parity and a lot of mediocrity in the Eastern Conference. That doesn't scream to me, hey, let's go for it, make the playoffs, let's make a push. It doesn't inspire confidence exactly for me right now, but you're right there, I guess. And then when you look at the guys being injured and coming back and the guys you're going to have join the lineup tonight, I guess that's kind of where we could look at it and be well, they're coming back and they missed a lot of guys and you had 36 million or 38 million, whatever the number was, missing in the last couple of games. And it's hard to overcome when your captain and $13 million guy is missing and your first line left winger is missing and your number one and your number number one centerman, your number four centerman, your number one defenseman, a top four defenseman as well with Tanev and Carlo are missing, and your backup goaltender or your 1A, 1B goaltender are missing. Like, those are all fair. The only counterpoint where I'm like, that's not exactly the most positive sign is they were also just playing like garbage before those guys were all injured. So it's not really an excuse. But the points, you're close, I guess. Maybe you don't give up. I don't know. I don't really believe in the group that much, but this is where I'm like, let's just find out. We'll see what happens. Anyways, we got lineup news, we got injury news, we got guys coming back, and I just wanted to preface today's pregame video with that because it's normally there's an objective in mind for the games for myself and what I want to see going into them. I genuinely am approaching each one of these games after Saturday where it was the must-win of must-wins for me, where Montreal was on a losing streak. Toronto had lost 6 of their last 7. Ability to lose 7 of their last 8 was you got to win tonight. You have to show up. After that loss and the way they lost, I was just all right, whatever. Now it's just let's find out. Let's find out what they've got. It's every night's a test. This is a test. What are you? Who are you? Do you have any give a fuck at all? Do you? I don't know. We'll find out. And we're going to find out starting over on Daily Faceoff with what we've got for our lines tonight. Obviously, today's game preview is a presentation of Bet365. But going over to line 1, Matthews and Knies return to the lineup here. I'm hoping they're back at 100%. It's a weird spot. You don't want them to be rushing back and just trying to join and risking injury. But at the same time, if they miss more games and the team just continues to lose, the season's over. So what do you have? How can you help? What can you inject into this lineup? I don't really know. And it's finally one of the first times that I'm looking at these guys and being you gotta play. Unless you're actually going to risk severe damage and injury long-term, you gotta play. So they rejoin the lineup. They play with Nic Robertson. I kind of like this combination. I'm happy to see Nic Robertson get back to that top 6. I thought he worked well with them. We saw him basically go to a black hole when he played with Max Domi and Bobby McMahon the last couple of games. It did not work. And Easton Cowan obviously got a lot of opportunity, but the Nic Robertson, McMahon, Max Domi line, it's just something to throw out. Let's avoid ever going to that again. Let's avoid putting those guys together. It's not an experiment that I want to be trying very much going forward. But that's your first line. Easton Cowan, John Tavares, William Nylander is your second line. We saw them playing as your first line during that period of time when Matthews and Knies were out, and they put Robertson down with Domi and McMahon, and they moved Yarncroke obviously to the first line to start, and then as the game would go along, they would move pieces around, and you'd see Cal Yarncroke slide down to your third line or your second line, and he'd be a utility guy, and then guys would get injured, and then it was a mess. But Easton Cowan would get to play 17 to 20 minutes a night. I'm happy to see him stay in the top 6. I think he deserves it. I think he deserves this opportunity. I think he's one of the more skilled offensive players, and I think he's one of the best 6 players on this lineup, let alone best 12 forwards that they have right now. So no reason for him to be going down to your Marlies unless you get to a point where you're playing him less than 10 minutes a night, at which point I think you got to just take it out of Berube's hands and send him to the Marlies. But I don't get the impression that Berube is going to play him sub 10 minutes here at this point. I think he's a guy who goes out there basically as frequently as you can get him on the ice. He's a top 6 player. He deserves to be in that role. And I thought he played well with Tavares and Nylander. I mean, look, again, not to make excuses, but seeing those guys as your second line and seeing what it does to the rest of your lineup, it makes a world of difference right now. Your first line is now Matthews, Knies, and Robertson. And your second line is the line that has been playing solely as your first line. And then you bump down the rest of the guys. Cal Yarncroke's on your third line instead of your first line right winger. Max Domi is your third line left winger instead of your second line center. Nic Roy comes back in here tonight, and he was playing he was finally finding himself and his footing before he got injured, which was an upper body injury. Won't give the specifics on, but he started to figure out his game. He started to look a little bit more like Nic Roy. He gets injured, and all of a sudden it's like, damn it, like, ruined some of the momentum the guy had, ruined some of the chemistry that he was building. But him coming back in, Austin Matthews, John Tavares, Nic Roy, Scott Laughton, 1 through 4 down the middle, feels a lot better than what you had in John Tavares, Max Domi, Scott Laughton, Jacob Quillen as your 4, or Steven Lorentz as your 4C, and those are your guys 1 through 4. Like, this is a much, much stronger 1 through 4 than what you've had previously. Slots guys back into positions they should be in. Max Domi should not be playing center. He should not be playing in your top 6, and he most definitely should not be playing second-line center, top 6 center. Like, those are two things he should not be doing, and he should not be doing them together at the same time. Now he's your third-line left winger. Much more palatable. Much more easy to digest. Your fourth line tonight, Lorentz, Laughton, and McMahon. That's a line that I liked playing together against Montreal. I thought if there was any positives, it was goaltending. Joseph Woll looked really good. Hildeby gave up no goals in his relief of Joseph Woll in that game. Easton Cowan, I thought, brought energy and looked good. And then aside from that, it was Lorentz, Laughton, and McMahon. When they got put together, there was a defined role. Like, they established some pressure. They were one of the few lines that could do it. They were physical. They were hard on the forecheck. They made life hard for the Habs when they were on the ice. Hard relative to what we were seeing throughout the rest of the game. And maybe just the fact that we were seeing them do it at all made like a little bit of brought a little bit of positivity to the game. But we'll see here tonight against Columbus if that's something that's able to continue. That's all for your forward lines. Defense, not much news here going on. Troy Stecher, Mermis, they go as your 5-6. Your third pair, Simone Benoit and Jake McCabe out there as your second pair. OEL and Morgan Rielly as your first pair as of right now. Kind of surprised that we are going to see Jake McCabe. He obviously had to leave the game the other night and did not return against Montreal. He was getting work done. He got pucked to the face. Did see photos of him at the Leafs gala that they had over the last couple of days. His pictures came out. Face looks incredibly swollen, but I guess if there's no structural damage and he feels good to go, especially at this point, why not? They need you. Again, back to the whole injury front. They need you right now. And you're seeing a Columbus team with Zach Werenski, who was banged up the other day. He's decided to play tonight. Why can't you go? Your team is like on the brink of being eliminated in November. Why can't you play? Find ways to win. Jumps back in the lineup here tonight. Returns to action against Columbus tonight. He's got to be better. We'll see what we get out of him, especially coming off of that, but he's got to be better. Morgan Rielly, you know what he is. He can provide some offense, but the rest of the group, they got to fill in defensively for him, especially if you're on the forward side of the puck, because your defense right now have been struggling, and the way the forwards are playing in the O-zone has not been helping. Down to your power play, I have thoughts on this, and I want to throw it out, and I want people to let me know in the chat what they think about this. Now, your first power play unit right now is Matthews and Knies, John Tavares, William Nylander, Austin Matthews, and Morgan Rielly. The first 4 names that I listed there need to be on the ice. And obviously, I am not a coach. Not a coach at the junior level, not a coach at minor hockey for that matter, and most definitely not a coach at any professional level, and have never done that. There's a reason I'm sitting here doing this and not behind a bench. But my thought, and it's more so because I feel like you've done pretty much everything. Why not try to get more creative again? Right now with Morgan Rielly out there, and these 4 forwards in particular, as it stands, this power play unit stinks. They stunk before when they had the other guy here. He leaves, they stink here now. I would propose the idea of putting Easton Cowan as the guy who runs the power play from the top. I know he is a rookie. I know that he's still learning and figuring things out, and there's a lot of mistakes that he could make if he's back there. But I just don't see how it could be any worse than what it is right now. This power play unit is susceptible to giving up some prime opportunities going the other way on fast breaks. They are susceptible to giving up some odd man rushes. They are giving up chances in their own zone. They get hemmed in their own zone. They can't carry the puck up the ice. Morgan Rielly's a guy who hasn't been able to get the puck up in transition and get over the blue line. Easton Cowan, at least in the Montreal game, showed a few different times he was a guy who could skate the puck over the line, possess the puck into the O-zone, and allow for you to set up. He showed in the past couple of games when he's been in there on the power play, he will hustle for pucks. He is hungry to get rebounds back. He will battle to get the puck back for the Leafs after shots, after turnovers, after broken up plays. Like, there is an element of hunger to his game that I think Morgan Rielly and maybe some of these other guys could learn from or use on this power play that he has. He's a dog back there. I don't think he has the most lethal shot, but I think he's got good enough vision to be able to go back there on that power play and make things happen where it's not telegraphed. He can find lanes where maybe he's trying to hit JT in the slot for a high tip, or Knies down at the side for a tap in, or a backdoor pass, or maybe he's going to Nylander and Matthews on the side. Like, we've talked over and over again about how you have these shooters on either side that you can kind of utilize, that you're going to go to for one-timers, or you're going to maybe try to use JT in the bumper. Why not give Cowan an opportunity as the quarterback of Power Play 1? I know I'm throwing some ridiculous shit out there, and I'm fully accepting that. I just want to hear people's thoughts on it, because I was thinking about this earlier when I saw Morgan Rielly on that unit and we saw Cowan get bumped to PP2. Like, you've tried this unit over and over and over again, and it's not worked. And I don't know, it looks like they've tried different ways to enter the zone. They've tried different setups in the offensive zone, and nothing seems that lethal. And I know Morgan Rielly is supposed to be like your power play quarterback, but he's not been a guy that's been overly dangerous over the last little while on the power play specifically. Like, yeah, he's getting some points here and there, but it's not really being that effective on the power play. Like, this group is like 9 for 58 on the season. What does it harm you to try something? And I know the pushback could then be, well, you might give up a lot defensively because now you don't have a defenseman. You tried this with Mitch Marner back there last year. You're doing it now with Morgan Rielly, who's not very good defensively. Like, you've done the 5-forward thing. You're doing it with a guy who's not very good defensively as it is, who's a defenseman. Like, why not try something? I feel like offensively, Easton Cowan could provide you more. I'd rather just see what he could do. I know it's a bit of a ridiculous idea, but you're at a point where it's like, it's desperation. Why not try? So, to me, I'm pitching Easton Cowan, quarterback, power play 1. I don't want Nylander or Matthews out there as that quarterback because I think that their shots are more lethal from the sides than they would be up top. But Cowan also moves around a lot and could potentially keep the penalty killing team, honest, where it's like he could pinch in, he could drive over to one side or the other and circle around with Nylander and Matthews at the top, and they could create some type of movement going on there that Morgan Rielly's just not providing you right now. He doesn't move around that well. He telegraphs passes. The passing on the power play for him is slow. It's predictable. Easton Cowan just seems to me like a guy who could provide you like a little bit of something, and I want to try it. Let me know in the comments if you like that idea. Let me know in the comments if you think it's the dumbest idea ever. Like, I'm not saying like this is the fix. I just kind of thought about this earlier today, and I was like, why not? Like, why would this not be something you'd at least give a go? But that's just me. That was something I was thinking about earlier, and I thought, why not bring it up to the chat ahead of this game and see where everybody else is at? Why not bring it up to the people who watch the preview? But those are your power play defensive units for tonight's game. Let's now get to our best bet. Our best bet segment is a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use the code NATION. That's NATION. Code NATION. NATION at Bet365. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connectsontario.ca. Best bets have not gone that well. Let's just call it what it is. 10-24 on the season. This Leafs slide has also been a slide for us. We have now lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in a row. We had built up enough of a buffer, at least, to like allow this skid to kind of not be that bad. Like, we're not so far in the negatives here. We're down 0.5 units on the season, which is fine. We had built up that big lead. We're almost up 3 units on the year. So building that at least helps us right now. But yeah, we've lost a bunch in a row. We're at minus 0.5 units on the season. We're 10-24. It's not the prettiest right now, but hope to get that back on track. Some of these guys getting back in the lineup, and hopefully this Leafs team starting to figure things out and hopefully becoming a little bit more predictable for us. But let's jump on over to Bet365 and see what we've got for tonight's odds, starting at Blue Jackets minus 110, Maple Leafs minus 110. Total in this one 6.5, minus 110 to the over, minus 110 to the under. I got no preference either side. I mean, like, reality is I don't really trust this team to win this game, but fingers crossed, prayer, like, you hope that something can go positive for you if you're the Maple Leafs. But anyways, let's get to our best bet. We have one tonight. We're going to go to the player props points section. We're going to points 2+, Austin Matthews, 2+ points, plus 215. Look, the big dog's coming back to the lineup. Half unit on this, $50. At plus 215, I think is a decent bet here. He's got to get going. He's got to take this on his shoulders. I'm mostly just betting on him to come back and, like, step up, rise to the occasion, dude. Show us what you've got. Show us what you're made of. $50 on this, profits you 107.5 on the night. There's no real reason to this one other than, like, get rocking, come back, make an impact, show us what you can do. I have faith in you to be able to do that. And if it doesn't, I don't even know. Like, if he just shows up and has no impact on this game tonight, I'm going to be in a dark place. Like, on the After Dark show will be a dark place. Let's call it what it is. It's a weird time watching this team. I hope for a win tonight. I hope they roll the Blue Jackets. Not really expecting that, to be completely honest. Hoping for the best. That'll do it for today's game preview. Let me know your thoughts on the Easton Cowan power play thing. I don't know. Again, not saying it's a great idea. I just thought about it earlier and wanted to know what other people thought. So let me know in the comments below on this video if you agree, disagree, why you think that. I want to know what your thoughts are on tonight's game against the Blue Jackets. And as well, I want to know what's your best bet and are the Leafs winning? Like, I want a general pulse check on the people in Leafs Nation right now, because a lot of times I post these videos and people are replying like, go Leafs, expecting a big one, or like, I don't know if they get it done tonight against Columbus. They've got our number. This kind of feels like people over the last bit have just been coming and being like, this team sucks. It's an auto loss. So let me know. Are they winning? Are they not? I want to hear it. Thanks for watching. Appreciate all the support. Appreciate all the feedback, the comments. I will see everyone, win or lose, on tonight's After Dark following the game against Columbus Blue Jackets. Thanks for watching. See you guys then. Until then, find it in you to keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take, Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos. Make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.